Oh,
Yes. Voice clear, doctor?
is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Shall we start, sir? Convener, sir?
Yes.
ஒரு செகண்ட் அந்த வாய்ஸ் மட்டும் செக் பண்ணிக்கலாம். Can you say something at that?
Yes, please, you can. You start and then I'll
No,
continue.
we are now checking the audio for public. It will take 1 second.
Okay.
Once it is through, then we will start immediately. Yes, now we are through. Can we start?
Yeah.
Very good morning to everyone who has joined in this webinar series today, and those who are going to see it in the YouTube channel at a later stage. We are on the 10th webinar series of Gandhigram Rural Institute deemed to be university from GRI Center, New Delhi. The delay was due to heavy rain in Delhi. The monsoon session has also started of the parliament today. As usual, we are having very new programs in this 5 days, and we have different subjects and very different eminent speakers on this program. As every day starts, I request Dr. Soundra Pandyan, our coordinator, to give a welcome address to the speakers.
Okay, good morning to all. Honorable Chancellor, revered Vice Chancellor, Honorable Madam Dr. G. Pankajam, Chief Guest of the webinar, respected Registrar, and my dear friend Dr. Krishna Kumar, and dear participants, good morning to all. It is my present duty to welcome you all for the 10th webinar series of GRI Center. The GRI Center is organizing various programs with the great effort of our friend Dr. Krishna Kumar. This is the 10th webinar series. I really appreciate the convener of the seminar, Dr. Krishna Kumar, for taking more efforts in organizing the webinar. First of all, I extend my heartfelt welcome to the Honorable Madam Dr. G. Pankajam, former Vice Chancellor of GRI. She is a reputed, well-known educationalist. During the tenure of Vice Chancellor of GRI, Madam has contributed a lot to the welfare of the Gandhigram Rural Institute. And Madam introduced many innovative programs, especially integrated B.Ed program for the benefit of our rural students. So this is specific program for the GRI students. So this is one of the great achievement of our Madam Dr. G. Pankajam. And also today it is very useful to our the growth of our Gandhigram Rural Institute. And on behalf of the GRI Center, on behalf of the authorities of Gandhigram Rural Institute, to our Madam Dr. G. Pankajam, welcome.
Thank you, Dr.
And our Chancellor has taken sincere efforts for the development of the institute through GRI Center. I extend the heartfelt welcome to the Chancellor of the Gandhigram Rural Institute, Dr. M. The present Vice Chancellor, Dr. Madheswaran, is sincere in the development activities of GRI, especially for the growth of the GRI Center for organizing the specific program webinar series. He is daily talking with me over phone the development of the uh, activities. So he is very much interested and he is very supportive to our GRI Center for promoting various activities. And I extend my heartfelt welcome to our Vice Chancellor Dr. Madheswaran. Welcome you, sir. And I am very much grateful to uh, our the participants of the webinar. I am thankful to our madam for contributing here uh, the address today address. Once again, I extend my welcome to each one of you. Welcome you all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sandapandan sir. As a ceremonial thing, we have to introduce Dr. G. Pankajam, Speaker of the Day today. She is very well known educationist, academician in this country, particularly contributed in the rural area of Gandhigram, from the rural area of Gandhigram. She has put in some 33 years of teaching experience, including 16 years as principal of Lakshmi College of Education. Her child development plans and the school which she has started is will speak about her always. And she has guided some 52 MH students and MD students and 2 PhD students. Since Dr. Sandra Pandyan has given a lot of
Your voice is not breaking, it's not your voice.
Is it still like that? Okay.
That's right. Yeah. And you can adjust a little more.
Yeah, I'll do that. So with this introduction, it is actually a volume to be introduced of Dr. G. Pankajam on our services she has rendered to the rural people of the country, particularly in rural south, from Gandhigram Rural Institute as well as Lakshmi College of Education, Gandhigram. With that kind of note, since our Dr. Sandra Pandyan has given a brief note about Dr. Pankajam, I request Dr. G. Pankajam to address on the day one of this webinar series, 10th webinar series, on a title of Rural Education in India, a Gandhian Perspective. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Krishna, for inviting me to talk about rural education and Gandhian perspective. I mean, it's more from my own experience and involvement in this. I would be telling you some real truth about the rural education from the point of view of Mahatma Gandhi. I had
மேடம் வாய்ஸ் வந்து கொஞ்சம் சவுண்டா இருந்தா
சவுண்டா வேணுமா?
ரெக்கார்ட் ஆகணும், ஏன்னா யூடியூப்ல எல்லாம் போகுது.
Because now
இவ்வளவு போதும் மேடம், இது போதும். கொஞ்சம் மைக் பக்கத்துல அல்லது.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
From my own experience of being part of Gandhian system of education, I am going to talk about how relevant it is today, even today, Gandhian system of education or Gandhian concept of education or Gandhian views on education as such. It's not like any other philosopher from what he taught or what she taught. It is from his own experience of teaching his own children in South Africa and the children from India who had to go to the schools when they were there in South Africa. So it is purely on the basis of the experiment which he has conducted that he developed as a new system of education and came to India and set up this system of education in Varda, where great educationists like Zakir Hussain, Kriplani, Dr. Ramchandran, and others were part of the ashram. Gandhiji, when he returned to India, he wanted to develop a system which will be education as the realization of the best in man, body, soul, and spirit, rather than merely developing the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Education, according to them, it was not reading, writing, and learning mathematics alone. So, Gandhian system of education is for life, through life, and throughout the life. It is not that with my degree, my PhD degree or my postdoctoral program, my education has come to a close. No, you have to be learning throughout. And you should be able to make every learner self-sufficient as such. And which he called as the Naitalim, the scheme, new education, Naitalim, new education, which was headed by education, which was headed by Dr. Zakir Hussain, a great educationist, who was also the President of India, who I visited Gandhigram. I had the fortune of getting my first degree from him. He conferred the degree, and when he came to a convocation of Gandhigram. But this social revolution of making everybody self-dependent, was it possible or not? Every one of us should be able to realize that one. He felt that education has to create a society which has to really make a child self-dependent with regard to his basic needs, that is food, residence, and clothing. So he said, you need not provide toys for the kindergarten children. As per the new education principle as such, it's learning by doing, Then we want to give them many more things here. We want today in the kindergarten and in nursery schools, we talk about providing toys for the children to play with and then learn. Whereas what Mahatma Gandhi said was, Takli, I don't know whether any of you even, I think Krishna Kumar would have heard about because he was here. And Takli, he said, should become a toy for the child. At the same time, you should help him to earn his clothing by spinning as such. Started with the Takli itself.
We call in Hindi charka.
If Krishna Kumar, if you want to interact with me in between.
Hindi. Charka.
Yeah. Charka later. This Takli is only a small thing which they have to twist it by hands. Charka, they have to rotate. That is a later development. I'm talking about the Takli to be mentioned.
You're true.
Nursery,
Yes, yes.
actually. That's nursery. And we should be thus break down the barriers between haves and have-nots. And to those who afford to pay can go to a school, international school, have everything through English, and need not even learn mother tongue. But it's not the system which he suggested. You learn everything. You have throughout your life learning, but let the learning be in accordance with the society in which you are living. Let it be relating to the needs of the people of the country, needs of the people in the neighborhood, not just merely what you have learned from the textbook. As we have they suggested is to learn the skill-oriented subjects, which is, as Mahatma Gandhi said, spinning, weaving, agriculture, the manual labor, sanitation. No, there was nobody to clean our place, starting from the school to the rural institute. Everything was to be done by the students themselves. Thus, they promoted the dignity of labor in the young mind. The dignity of labor is missing today on our own. We feel that it is beyond our level. And whereas Mahatma Gandhi, I remember when my cleaning the classroom and with brooms, even when I was a child in the school, that he called us junior day school. And then remember probably Krishna Kumar and my nephew would have been the partners in that. They used to shout and then they used to struggle and say, I will sweep. I won't give my broom to you. Once when I went to the school to see my nephew, where he was doing, and these people were fighting for a particular broom, saying that they have to clean their premises and so on. That was the attitude, the happy occasions on which they could learn through their involvement in learning. And when it comes to the spinning, as I said, the charka, it has, later on, when they have to achieve another goal of that is self-sufficiency in their life. Self-sufficiency in their life means it is at the basic school. After basic education is over, it's a post-basic education. That is from the 9th standard onwards, where we at least 3 sets of clothing for themselves for every year. This was done. Now everything probably Dr. Sondra Pandit may be thinking that it is a story Madam is narrating. It's not a story. It's what happened in Gandhigram as an experiment, because Dr. Sondram and Dr. Amchandran, when they started Gandhigram, they started with a hospital and primary school, this body. And then from that, they have been experiment one by one, class by class, they have been adding. And then they have come to this stage of completion of the post-basic school, that they were thinking what to do with these young boys and girls after the school final, because the government of Tamil Nadu, the education department of Tamil Nadu or the government of India never accepted the basic school certificate, completion certificate is equivalent to that of SSLC. That means they cannot join the regular colleges and universities, the affiliated colleges. So they wanted to start an institution of higher education which would help them to join the higher education like anybody else. That was the Rural Institute, then came into existence in 1956. That's a higher education. So it's an experiment, adding step by step on the basis of their success and failures. It is not like as we have the government school today where we can just go and join immediately and so on. So this experiment had started in Gandhigram. It's the best experiment for the whole country. And then when the Shimali committee had been set up to start the rural industry, in 14 places they started this experiment of starting. After 1956, these rural institutes were started. And in the rural institutes, which was started in Tamil Nadu alone, exist today, going to the status of a deemed university. Because this experiment is not less than Dr. Ramchandran was the founder, vice chancellor, with a conviction. He said, yes, we are capable. We are capable of going ahead and showing the way to everybody that we can develop, promote the youths of this country to come up to the level of leaders at national level. And now we see Krishna Kumar sitting over there in Delhi, and that's the national level. I don't know national level leader, but a reformer, trying to help every one of us. And this kind of leadership quality has been developed only by Gandhigram. And today, not only here in India, but everywhere, wherever I visited in many countries, they used to ask in what way Rural Institute is different from other universities. Even before it became, rather conferred the status of rural university, that they used to be asking. I used to ask, it is different just because it caters to the needs of the students of the neighboring rural areas. Earlier, it was only our school in Gandhigram which was existing. Primary school, as well as Tambidottam Higher Secondary School, we call it at Gandhigram. Whereas later on, we started having schools within 5 kilometers of a school. They have to get a permission that then there is no objection for starting up a school. So many schools nearby they started, because then it was easy when there was a need-based, demand-driven, and Gandhigram started this experiment. So it is from pre-primary to the Rural Institute Higher Education. It was purely on the basis of the experiment which they have done. And they taught to live in rural area. They taught to live with the people in the community. They wanted what they learned to be taken to the community. The curriculum was need-based. Even today, our students go to the villages and our teaching, research, and extension are based on the people around and the whole country today. For example, they used to ask, how can you make sciences to be taken to the rural area? And I'm proud that 7 of our professors in Gandhigram Rural University have got the Best Scientist Award. Among the 100, 7 of our staff have got this award. It is really, we are proud that we are not lagging behind. We are not lagging behind. We are competing with, but at the same time, our researchers are taken to the villages. Results are taken to the villages. It is from lab to land. What we do in the energy department, it's not just merely doing some researches or experiment, but the problem itself, the issue itself is based on the needs of the people in the nearby rural areas and taking them back the results which would be of great use to them. And in the building center, what experiments are conducted are taken to the villages. That you can use this type of materials for constructing your houses. Cheaper, the best, and durable. And this is what we have been doing. And our extension component, because it is part of Gandhigram, the extension component of Gandhigram Rural Industries and the Gandhigram Rural Development Activities made us to get this new status of deemed university, which was actually inaugurated by Mrs. Indira Gandhi herself coming to Gandhigram and starting unveiling this flag, Gandhigram Rural University. Is it not our success? Is it not the need-based education?
Absolutely.
Is it not the learning by doing? Even now, of course, we are talking about development, science, and technology, no doubt about it. But Mahatma Gandhi was not against science and technology. He said even the needle which we use for stitching is a machine only. Are we leaving out? We are using it. But how do you make use of it is more important as far as Mahatma Gandhi is concerned with regard to educational structure and the education. You everything, but let them use it for the growth and development of the people around them and development of the people around them. That our industries really become not just job. We used to tell, you should not go in search of job. You should be the job provider. You should not be the job seekers, but job providers. I used to be always thinking, whenever I used to, 100 times I visited Delhi, and with the help of Mr. Krishna Kumar, and the way in which he has come up in his life, the way in which I have come up like, he knows as a child, he knows me, I too know him as a child, and how he has to struggle and how I have to struggle to come up to this level. Only the people in this area could have. No, we never expected anything to come from our own parents, but we tried our level best that we were. That is the dignity of labor. Dignity of labor was emphasized, and we were able to do everything using our hands. The skill-oriented education has helped us, has built us to come up to this level of making it. So it is the system which what Mahatma Gandhi suggested, starting from the Vedic period. I have compared Mahatma Gandhi with the Vedic period of education, with the Vedic period where he said that we will take the best from Vedic period. We will also take the best from the Dr. Pandit, this is disconnected.
Yeah, in
Dr.
between.
Pandit,
Yes, madam. Madam.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we are able to hear you.
Can
Please.
you hear me?
Yes, madam.
Sundar Pandit?
பாடம் தெரியல மேடம் சரியா.
Your voice is, we are able to get your voice, but your picture is not clear.
பாடம் சரியா தெரியல மேடம்.
அவங்களோட ரீகனெக்ட் பண்ணுங்க.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
It was disconnected in between. Okay. And the courses which was suggested are not even today, it is not irrelevant, they are relevant. Probably all of you would have read the new education policy where they talk about not as industries but as the technologies. The terminology has changed, but the industries, what Professor Soundrapandian is heading, that department. This department has been revamped, scientifically restructured so that they can follow the demands and they can achieve the demands which are coming from the people, from the world. We have to have, what I feel is, we have to have confidence in us. We have to have the confidence in us. Yes, we are capable. Even for example, Khadi, which is being one of the major areas, trust areas of Khadi and village industries department. And Gandhi is a forerunner and leading institution in promoting the Khadi as such. When they want 100 home Khadi, 100 counts, we have to make, in that case, our spinners to spin undercounts, and we should be able to modernize a little our chapter. This is what GRI should take up. Undercounts threads so that they are able to satisfy the requirements of the modern women who want to have a different way. And they want different designs. And accordingly, we must be able to make our khadi production as such. So our curriculum in GRI is need-based. We have the Department of Agriculture, Faculty of Agriculture. This agriculture is to promote something innovative in agriculture rather than talking about only this system which is existing today. So the agriculture department, an introduction of vocational course in agriculture, vocational course in village industries, nearly 9 vocational BVOC courses makes the job-oriented courses. Even before in the new education policy suggested the job-oriented courses, these vocational courses have been started in Gandhigram Rural Institute as fashion designing in home science. And dietitian courses in home science. So this type of newness in introducing this, as Abdul Kalam said, that concept of Pura, providing urban facilities to rural areas. It doesn't mean converting the rural areas into urban areas, but facilities. Just only the facilities. Okay, I have got electricity here. No, it should be provided to all the villages, all the tribal areas. Instead of saying, now it has proved that this has become inevitable during this COVID-19 period. We talk about distance education. It is a distance education. It is distance education. What media? It is only through electronic media. But when we don't have even the electricity, how can we make our students learn from this one? So many of them don't have these facilities as such. So it has essentially, it has made it possible for the government to introduce or provide electricity facilities in rural areas. Dr. Abdul Kalam said, providing urban facilities in rural areas and including the employment opportunities. That's what I mean. And in fact, we wanted to start that experiment first in Gandhigram by the time he left. So, but even then, because he visited to see our experiment, especially in Rural Institute, what we do, our curriculum, and our methods of approach. As I told you, the 3 major dimensions of education, of teaching, research, and extension. These 3 dimensions should go together, should have an integrated part into the system of education. Many started now in many universities, but relevance, what Mahatma Gandhi said, the relevance of this basic system of education. I don't even say that it's an entirely, it's a basic system of education has made many of the universities in Tamil Nadu as such to make use of this one. When I went to the Vice Chancellor's conference in England, and I was asked to talk about the linkage between the universities and universities and the society, the community as such. But for this linkages, we will not be able to proceed with the education which is actually needed for the people. The same thing in Sussex University. These professors to whom I had a discussion in England, they had asked many questions because they are also interested in rural development. They said they would like to visit India, where the concentration is more on rural area and rural development as such. And we have got the sanitary inspector's course in Gandhigram. And we have got extension program. I used to wonder, only in Gandhigram, the people who don't know even how to read and write, could enter a university system. Because we used to conduct a lot of refresher courses to the villages in Panchayati Raj system. I think almost all the nearby villages, nearby panchayats, or even far out places in Tamil Nadu would have come to Gandhigram to get that training, leadership training. We used to give continuously, we used to conduct. Our professors used to take this new knowledge to the villages and sit with them in Gram Panchayat. For providing the system which would be of highly useful to them, rather than just merely governing, sitting over somewhere as such. And then about the lab to land system. In fact, when I was a student in GRI, we used to go to the villages after our college, our college system, what was over, that's after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, to the nearby villages by taking the torchlight to the villages and help the women in that village. Being the home scientist, we used to talk to them about the food, the nutrition, the hygiene, and child care. So these concepts, today, when we see those villages, they look different. They look different from what they were when I visited as a student as such. And for this, it is not only the reach out program, but also placement program. The placement program. Both of you sitting over there, I don't know who are the audience and so on. Both of you sitting over here, whom I could see, would have undergone these experiments and experiences in your life as such.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
So, what he said, true education must correspond to the surrounding circumstances, or it is not a healthy growth. That's what Mahatma Gandhi said. This is a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. And he said, education and society are the two sides of the same coin. You cannot just separate. Now, what we think now, a child doesn't want to learn Tamil, we think that we are proud of that. Oh, my child speaks so well, excellently well, and in English, but he cannot talk. He cannot write in Tamil. This is a proud parents today. But Gandhiji insisted on learning through mother tongue. I learned up to my 11th standard only through mother tongue, not English. My teacher used to come, write something on the blackboard, say, this is English class, no textbook. And today, now, government has issued an order saying, and Yashpal Sharma also said, I too experimented in an experimental school which I started. No textbook, no school bag. The child should come to the school, learn through the experiences and experiments and textbooks which are available in the library. You should not be asked to purchase on its own. You should not give the homework. And yesterday, a GO has been issued that there should be no homework to the children from LKG to second standard. I said up to fifth standard. The school which we conducted, I never used to allow my teachers to give the homework to these children up to fifth standard, because the children should have the freedom to play with the parents and learn from the parents. This is an inevitable, essential component of learning for the total development of the child. Whereas all the educationists talk about different system, but what is needed for us, we must decide. So Gandhiji's concept is in no way different from that of the education system of Rousseau or Madame Montessori or Russell or John Dewey, who used to be the forerunners in the Western countries to promote the new education systems and new education policies. In India, we have got a lot of committees and commissions and policies have been made. But how far been implemented? How far they have come to the reality? How far it has really promoted the true value system which is needed for us? I don't say that Gandhian concept of education is dead and gone. The name Naitarim has gone. I tell you, even in Gandhigram, we have removed that approval of Naitali, that basic school, because we wanted our children to join the mainstream. The globalization demanded not that they have to go out of the country and they have to do something, but globalization wanted us also to be as part and parcel of the global system of education, so that they can, and they will be able to show the way to the world around them, as Mahatma Gandhi showed. So there was no other alternative. In 1965, Gandhigram from basic school to the regular system of education of government of Tamil Nadu. I remember I argued with when he was the education minister, that how could you deny the opportunity for the children from basic schools entering into the medical system or engineering system or any other affiliated arts and science colleges as such. So even there was an argument, there was a news, TV news, that even the vice chancellors are to be only if it is an arts and science university, the vice chancellor should be only from arts and science discipline, not from other discipline, not, this was yesterday's latest news. And so when we want something to be done, but at the same time, we should also have a global view on what's going on in the world. And if we don't know and we say we are isolated, then naturally, what happened in the pandemic? Our system collapsed, more or less. Though we can in finding out medicines for COVID-19, we have to depend on us and we have to help us and so on. So, as an educationist who I taught about for about 33 years, the philosophy of education of different philosophers of the whole world. And I feel that Gandhian experiments in education, Gandhian concept of education, and Gandhian concept of new knowledge to be provided by living and learning to live, enjoy the learning, rather than thinking it is getting only the marks. This is what our professors and our parents feel, that my child should secure the rank, my child should get the highest position in his class or something like that. But apart from all this, I think I have written in the book which has been published by the Council for Rural Institutes on Naithaling, myself as an acid test for basic education. I have grown to this extent. I can challenge now anybody. I have challenged, I have traveled throughout, and I have proved that Gandhi Gram is capable of producing the people who just come as a child. One who enters as a child can become reach the highest level and get the highest degree as well, and aspire for doing the best, giving the best. As Professor Soundarpandian said, the course which I introduced, it is a great aspiration for me, even when I was the principal of the Lakshmi College of Education, to introduce the B.Ed, integrating into the regular system of there was oppositions and all, but when I wanted to introduce this in our rural institute, I spoke in the Vice Chancellor's conference in Chandigarh. I convinced all the Vice Chancellors, and then I went to the chairman of UGC, and then and the teacher education program. I convinced them how it is different from that of regional colleges of education. They said, when you say integrating, why not this regional colleges of education, which we have in three different places in India, introduced by NCRT? I said that's entirely different. Here, we want them to get the simultaneous both the degrees. Suppose they don't want to continue, they can leave with one degree only. And today, I'm happy to say that has become the order of the day. And today, Government of India in the new education policy has introduced this as integrated education. Of course, there will be changes. It is essential. We have to have a change according to the needs of the student community. At the same time, what you think of and what you have as a perception of your own can come true when you really feel, you really think, and you really act according to the needs of the people. That is, according to the people around. Dr. Saundram and Amma used to say that Lakshmi College of Education should produce the teachers for rural area to teach science. That is the main objective of starting up Lakshmi College of Education near Gandhigram. It was a question when I started this integrated B.Ed in GRI, when I became the Vice Chancellor. They said, how can you start B.Ed here when you have got a B.Ed in the next door? I said, that's different. The people from other colleges come only for 1 year. Here, it is our own students who join the first year of their graduate program and they continue. And I heard, and they have now come for the M.Ed as well. It is a happy occasion to hear what you aspired for, you could achieve. So we pay way for our teachers. As I said, 7 scientists from here. They have contributed to the world. So we are Gandhians are not less than anybody. We are contributing. We will continue to contribute. Gandhigram GRI will definitely contribute to the maximum. As far as education for life of the people, education through life with a commitment to the people around them. And this is what the great founders of our Gandhigram, the visionaries, Dr. Saundram and Dr. Ramchandran wanted. And our duty as far as Gandhigram is concerned, whether it's an education institution or an industrial institutions, we want to achieve this vision and mission of Dr. Saundram and Dr. Ramchandran. If you have anything, you can ask Krishna.
Yes, sir. Now, you had delivered a lecture on this rural education in India with a Gandhian perspective from Gandhigram. So spontaneous. There were so many reminiscences in that. A lot of emotions were there, and what Mahatma Gandhi had preached or taught, that your experience is what you have brought into this lecture. It was really fantastic to hear you as a speaker, as an ex-step-pro speaker, I should say. We are all thrilled to listen to you. It was very informative, and I'm sure with this experience, it will go to many, many people. Now, due to short of time, I will not only due to short of time, you have covered entirely, so I'm left with no question. So still, I try my level best to ask few questions. First thing, we have seen that integrated teachers training program. What is your concept which you have brought in? Much before that, in Lakshmi College of Education, you have made innovations in teaching, training the trainers. Can you throw some light on the training, the trainer, and the importance today?
Okay. You know, we have to have the refreshment. We have to refresh our knowledge every day. Every day, especially a teacher should always be a learner. And teachers cannot just remain complacent with what they have learned and what they have achieved as such. They should be able to learn and they should be able to uh, refresh what they have learned long back. And whatever I have, number of programs I have conducted, of course, because I was a lecturer and professor, I was able to conduct a program of training and refresher courses for the teachers as such, and in which the new concepts have been taken up and discussed, and the teachers were made to understand it is not what they learned some years back in their BEd, how to teach and what to teach, and the psychology of the student. And the psychology of the student today is entirely different from what it was before. And as a psychologist, because I studied child development, I feel that what I thought of yesterday as a child is not the child of today. Because I'm not talking about growth of the child, but the mental attitude and how to be with how to behave with others, how to deal with others, how to move with others. All this have changed. And the children are not the children of today, and they are the children of tomorrow. They want to see what is going to happen tomorrow. This is what I have been observing. So we have conducted the projects, and in fact, I prepared a curriculum for pre-primary school, and that curriculum has been followed throughout Tamil Nadu in Anganwadis, and Government of India also has accepted the International Encyclopedia of Education Research has said that this is a model from India to train the teachers for India. And this has been quoted there in the Yes?
Yeah, thank you. It was absolutely very perfect. You explained in such a way that the question itself was narrated in paras, rather. Now I'm coming to moving to the next question. We have. Let me go back to 2014 statistics, which was published in Government of India. The adult education literacy rate, who are above 15 years, is 80% male and 59.3% female. I remember going back in my childhood days, seeing you people going to specifically conduct this adult education in 50s and 55s. So can you just throw some light on what is the importance of adult education?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Adult education.
Yeah.
Importance of education was started even when Gandhigram was started, and then they have planned for adult education simultaneously. But at the same time, in Rural Institute in 1956 onwards, we are contemplating on, we used to take lantern. I remember, and then walk through this railway lines. And we are village nearly 5 kilometers away from Gandhigram, and teach them adult literacy program. It is not specifically given as we have as the department. Then we started a department of adult and continuing education here. And then open university also we have started, the National Open University System when I was there. So that even those who discontinue the 9th standard can continue for one more year or 2 more years and then write the 10th standard examination. Similarly, 12th standard students. And they later continue their higher education if they want to, they prefer, and there's a need for them. So that adult education program, open system of education, has made us make everybody feel the importance of the education. And today, in fact, parents want their children, all of them, to be educated. They don't want, because that that reflects that they have realized the importance of education, the adults. So indirectly, it is reflected on the children, the society, that it should become a literate community, literate village as such. And all those who are in and around Gandhigram, and they feel that Gandhigram, that from nothing Gandhigram came into existence. It was only a forest. It was only a forest area from where today we have really provided Pura, the aspiration there of innovative idea of Dr. Abdul Kalam of providing the opportunity for the rural people, what is there in rural areas and cities, and this village, no, not village, this forest has changed itself, its structure. And now many used to criticize me. You are talking about only simplicity, but when you are the Vice Chancellor, you constructed so many buildings with a concrete building. How could that be? But then I told them the reason why we have gone for this structure, because the people to were not available for renovating the old buildings. So we have also provided urban.
Yes. Madam, sorry. I am in the office, so some disturbances. Sorry,
Okay.
madam. Thank you, madam.
If you also can ask for any doubts, you are welcome.
I have no doubt, madam, but you are the apt person to speak about the rural education and in the present context. So nowadays we are mostly on the online education, but the rural atmosphere, the problem is the poor connectivity, and most of the rural students are not able to get the smartphone, and so the such problems for the rural students, madam. You know very well about the problem. Can you suggest any model, innovative model for such solving the problems?
In last July itself, I wrote series of articles in Thai magazine about impact of corona on the education system. I said, how could they now say that it is through online we could teach? And that's why I told no, even when we don't have the electricity, how can they say you can have education through TV. when you don't have the electricity, from where can you use the TV as such? The only thing is what I'm trying to do is I'm asking the teachers in the nearby, if, as Mahatma Gandhi said, if you would have started with the volunteers in each village, volunteers and self-help groups uh, for taking up such type of challenges in the event of a pandemic like this, they would have. So what we have done is we have given those who cannot have the mobile facilities. We have got us donors who gave us nearly 10 telephones like that. We have provided to 10 villages and made the children over there to be assembled by one parent who is an educated parent who can help them in learning. This is a volunteer, as Mahatma Gandhi suggested. And like this, 50 children get these opportunities. But at the same time, I'm not at all for education of this type. It is of no use. And the children don't learn. We see this. They don't enjoy this because they have to play with, they have to hug with each other, and they have to interact with the teacher. They have to get scolding from the teachers and learn from what the teachers teach. And this is so I am not absolutely for education through
Gadgets.
gadgets.
Thank you. Now I have this question. We are now very, very close in timing. Let me have that last question. You have just touched upon while speaking in a subtle manner that I have studied my studies up to 9th standard in my mother tongue. Now the government has a clear vision that we should go with learning in mother language even in higher education. How do you see this? You have started much earlier this particular concept. How do you see learning higher education in higher education in mother language?
Learning through mother tongue, absolutely nothing wrong in it. But at the same a language in which the people can communicate, read and write. A language which is more popular, which are needed today. So there is nothing wrong in learning any language in which the child is interested, and the school could provide the opportunity for them to learn. So I don't say that there is anything wrong in learning, but mother tongue should be a must. It should be learned by the child. At the same time, the learning other languages has no bar.
It's very well said. We should not ignore the other languages, but for mother language. Along with mother language, we should have other languages also while learning, because so many things are there in other languages also. It was really great, really a great experience. Doctor, you have any questions, doctor, or we can go for conclusion?
I am very much grateful to our madam for having agreed and delivered a very good lecture. It is watched by through YouTube nearly 9,000 viewers. So with the great effort of our Dr. Krishna Kumar, so we are organizing the 10th program. I am very much thankful to our madam, and I am thankful to my dear friend Dr. Krishna Kumar for organizing the webinar. I thank our other staff members in the GRI center. Thank you, madam. We can conclude.
Yeah.
Krishna Kumar.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Gandhi Gram Rural Institute for taking this effort and going along with the changes. And I don't say it's a modernity, it is a change, it's need-based. And you are taking up and you are reaching out to the people around the world. Thank you. Thank you for inviting
Thank
Okay,
you.
ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me formally conclude. Today, on the first day of 10th webinar series from Gandhigram Rural Institute into the University from GRI Center, we had heard Dr. G. Pankajam, a extempore speaker. I would like to add one point here. Teaching is a great experience. This is what my father used to tell me always. And I have seen one incident which has touched my heart. So many things, but one I would like to share. Every year, the students of our speaker today, Dr. G. Pankajam, used to assemble from across not only Tamil Nadu, from the country wherever they are, and even foreign. Those students, they are now 50s, 60s. They used to come, join, assemble, and celebrate a day with Dr. G. Pankajam and acknowledge her contribution in their life, in transforming their life. And I have seen people giving standing ovation to Dr. G. Pankajam on her contributions to these rural people. And I salute her for her services, commendable services in the rural area, particularly female education, adult education, and teachers training. I thank you very much, Dr. G. Pankajam, for spending your valuable time amidst your very, very busy schedule and honor us in this joining webinar, in this webinar by joining and delivering this address. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then you should back what I thought that mine should not be a reading of a paper, but talking from the heart and from the experiences. That's why I have not prepared the paper. But the thing is, in fact, whatever I said is in the books which I have written and the experiments which I have conducted, the experiences which I have gone. So it is not a prepared paper, but sharing of my experiences. Thanks for all your efforts. So far, you have conducted 9 programs, and this is the 10th program. Wish you all best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay,
Jai
ma'am.
Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you can switch off.
Ah,
Switch off on it.
Seri. Okay, it's over.
Yeah. So,
Okay. See you.